Welcome my fellow gamers, I'm the Body Counter, and today I want to discuss the loadouts I run with in Battlefield 1 and why I run them. Let me start off by saying that it's only in recent months that I've started running with these loadouts, and it's more for show and immersion than it is for simply selecting the most popular weapons. Recently, I've been playing with weapons specifically tailored to the faction and map I'm playing on. That isn't to say I don't use an Italian loadout on the Eastern Front from time to time, but it's a key way I play as of recently that I really enjoy, which I feel inclined to share with you guys. So now, I'll be discussing my loadout weapon setups. To start the list off at number 1 is Cortu, a French assault loadout created for long-range engagements. The Cortu loadout comes with the Vimy Ridge 1918 carbine as the primary weapon and the MLE 1903 as the sidearm. Named after the Battle of Cortu in 1918, which was a part of the 100 Days Offensive, it involved Belgian, French and British forces in their attempt at pushing the German defenders out of key sectors in France and Belgium. This loadout is by far my favourite assault loadout and fits well for when I'm playing on They Shall Not Pass maps. As of recently, I also substitute the Vimy Ridge carbine with the RSC SMG every so often if I want a challenge and want to trade rate of fire and ammo capacity for damage and skill. Secondly for the assault is Faustschlag, my German assault loadout which sees some alterations every now and again. For this assault I either rock the buffed SMG 0818 or the M1917 C96 trench carbine as primary weapons, and the P08 as my sidearm. Faustschlag, or fist punch when translated to English, was the last serious conflict on the Eastern Front, resulting in German and Austro-Hungarian divisions capturing the Baltics, Ukraine and Belarus. It's fitting to use this loadout when playing as the German Empire, but the most fitting map for this is Albion, as it's the closest map in relation to Operation Faustschlag, and it's the only Russian map to feature the German Empire. Last of the assault loadouts is Caporetto, which is my Austro-Hungarian Stormtrooper setup, which is mainly my go-to in terms of becoming more skilled with using low capacity but high power weapons. Instead of using the bland and overly used Hellriegel 1915, I run with the machine pistol M1912/P16. Also worth noting, these machine pistols are more acceptable and realistic to use for an Austro-Hungarian Stormtrooper loadout over the Hellriegel. Accompanying the high fire rate weapon is the Gasser 1870. It's a strong revolver with yet again another slow reload animation. Caporetto was a successful Central Powers victory against Italy in 1917. Now to begin on the medic loadouts. The first medic setup I have is Vladivostok, my Russian powerhouse. Ruling with the Fedorov Automat as my primary weapon for effective offensive action and the Obrez sidearm with incredible power up close, this is my favourite medic loadout. Named after one of the most vital cities during the Russian Civil War, Vladivostok is a city off the coast of Far East Russia which saw deployment of Allied forces to counter the Red Army. It's ideal for In the Name of the Tsar maps, but very fitting for the Russian Civil War maps of Tsaritsyn and Volga River when playing as either faction. Next for the medic is Archos, a French loadout which gets me to use a firearm I don't tend to pick often. The primary weapon is the M1907 SL Sweeper, and the secondary is the MLE 1903. I say I don't use the M1907 SL often because stat-wise it seems logically better to use the auto-loading 8 Extended or the Fedorov Automat, but it does have a few benefits over the previously stated competitors. Archos is named after the said battle, specifically the Second Battle of Archos in 1915, where French and British suffered significantly more casualties than the Germans did. This loadout, however, is more diverse in that it can be used when playing as both the French Republic and British Empire. Lastly for this class is the Ankh loadout, boasting the high-capacity Farquhar Hill rifle as the primary weapon and the Webley Mark VI. This setup is generally pretty adaptive to different situations in game. The Farquhar Hill, in my opinion, is slightly better stat-wise than the new Howell automatic rifle and proves to be an accurate and fast shot at medium to long ranges, and the new powerful Mark VI revolver can put up-close enemies down rather quickly. The Battle of Ankh was a conflict during the very end of the Kaiserschlacht campaign in April of 1918. Germany failed to revive the offensive, and British forces had struck back at the attempted advance, ultimately being the end of the last-ditch effort made by Germany. Maps involving the British are obviously the best choice, but maps such as Amiens, St. Quentin Scar, and Zeebrugge are the more fitting locations for this loadout to be used in. And now support is next up. Number 1 on the support list is Valencian, my favourite support loadout and incorporating one of my newest favourite weapons in the game. Utilising the latest LMG 0818, This LMG proves to be the perfect blend between the bar, the Parabellum, and the MG15NA, combining a high rate of fire and a decent mag size and OK stability. With the LMG 0818 comes the C93 handgun as a great finisher against any stragglers. Valencian was one of the last sites of the 100 Days Offensive and resulted in a quick defeat against the Germans occupying the area. As with the Ankh loadout previously mentioned, this support setup is great for the mentioned maps suitable for that loadout except for the German faction instead of the British Empire. Secondly for the class is the Asiago, an Italian suitable setup boasting a fair class loadout. The Perino M1908 is the primary, giving a high ammo capacity, great stability, and fair damage to the player. As for the secondary weapon, the Modello 1915 is an incredibly fast-firing sidearm suitable for pairing with the slow-firing Perino. The Battle of Asiago was the largest mountainous assault by Austria-Hungary, and while it was looking successful at the start, it was later suppressed by the Italian defenders and proved to be a victory for Italy. Monte Grappa, Empire's Edge, and Caporetto are very good maps for this class, as not only do they fit for Italian use, but the Perino is a great long-range defensive weapon, fit for long ranges of the three said maps. The third support loadout is designed around a faction that is absent in Battlefield 1, but I really wish were to be featured. Duriran. Filling the place of the missing faction of Bulgaria, this setup is a pretty standard class, but is fun and sometimes challenging to run with at times. In the primary slot is the Madson Lmg, as it's a more mobile machine gun that Bulgaria would have used during the war, and the P08 as the basic sidearm. Bulgaria never made their own arms, so they relied on imported weapons from Germany and Austria-Hungary. Duriran was the site of three major battles between Bulgaria and the British and French, where Bulgarian soldiers fought vigorously against the powerful attackers and were victorious in all three battles. Finally, we've reached the Scout class. The first of these three sniper classes is yet again another reference to a missing faction. Tsingtao, an aggressive sniper class using a close-range sweet spot, the Arisaka Type 38 rifle, and the No. 3 revolver as a powerful handgun for follow-up shots at targets who survived the rifle. The revolver was American-made, but were bought by the Japanese prior to the war. The class is named after the famous Siege of Tsingtao, Japan's only major battle during World War I against the German Empire in China. The siege was a big success for the Japanese, and they later began occupying German-held islands later on. Although the Japanese are not featured in the game, a fitting map for this class is Tsaritsyn and Volga River, as the Japanese were key fighters against the Bolsheviks in the Russian Civil War intervention. Next up for the Scout class is Vimy Ridge, my Canadian loadout offering the straight pull advantage of the Ross Mark III marksman rifle and the M1911 or Webley Mark VI for a powerful handgun option. When and if the new 8 weapon variants that were shown on the CTA not long ago are added, I'll be sure to use the infantry Ross Mark III over the marksman variant. I just can't get over those types of scopes. The loadout gets its name from the famous Battle of Vimy Ridge, which was Canada's most significant battle of the war, which occurred in 1917 against the German Empire. Generally, since Canadians fought with the British, any map featuring the British Empire would work to the loadout's inclusion, especially Passchendaele. Last on the list is an American loadout, Belleau Wood, a long-range class using the newly introduced M1917 Enfield rifle with the M1911 accompanying it. The rifle I find very average at the moment, but I hope the CTE variants that were teased previously do make it to the game, as it included the hyped Enfield 1917 Silenced, which also comes with a mid-range scope, which honestly I think will get me using the rifle more often. Belleau Wood is known to many Americans as their greatest battle of World War I. Their outcome was victorious for the US Marines with a cost. As a US loadout, it should obviously be paired with maps such as Ballroom Blitz and Argonne Forest. I have many more country-specific loadouts that I haven't featured. The ones I mentioned are just my current and most favourite ones. I've previously had Italian scout classes using the Carcano and the Bodea revolver, an Uzerom setup for when I played as the Ottoman Empire with the MG15NA and the P08, and a Belgian Liege assault using the Sjogren Inertial and the MLE 1903. By all means, give these loadouts a try, or make your own if you want to experience a slightly more realistic type of combat next time you're playing Battlefield 1. I hope you enjoyed the video and found my loadout setups interesting. If you did, please drop a like to show your support, share your thoughts in the comments below, or if you have any ideas for loadouts you feel would be nice to try, subscribe to keep up to date for when I upload next, and as always, continue gaming on.